Well, this is our last show of the year, and for many people, it's the last day of work before the holidays, so naturally it's time to take stock, reflect on the year that's passed, and enjoy the company of loved ones. Or if you're Donald Trump, you use that time to insist you've never read Mein Kampf. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Before he was a politician, Donald Trump was, of course, a world-renowned loudmouth and flamboyant moron who had opinions on almost everything and would talk to almost anyone about those opinions. New Yorkers were used to it. Before the Times Square Elmo, he was the scariest thing to run into on the street. Also, it's got to only be a matter of time before Trump starts going full third-person Elmo style. Trump thinks the media treats him very unfairly. When it comes to the press, Trump not tickled. As an example of who Trump used to chat with, back in the 90s and early 2000s, he did several interviews with Playboy magazine, including appearances in, quote, erotic videos. Now, before you vomit up your eggnog, Trump himself was not in the erotic parts. He appeared between erotic scenes as a sort of a palate worsener.
So what we're looking at right now is Donald Trump in this 1994 Playboy video. It's basically the sort of the video equivalent of the Playboy calendar. Now, Trump's role in it, in between these erotic scenes, there was actually a farm scene and a couple others that were very erotic, but Trump's role was interviewing these playmates who wanted to be potential Playboy playmates for the magazine. He asked them some questions, he took some Polaroids with them, and to be clear, he's fully clothed.
First of all, thank you. Thank you for making it clear that he is fully clothed. I bet they put that as a disclaimer before the video started. Imagine sitting down to watch an erotic video with Playboy playmates and out of nowhere Donald Trump shows up in it. Especially a farm scene. What the hell is Donald Trump doing on a farm, foreclosing on it? Excuse me, girls, I hate to interrupt your sexy chores, but I just bought this farm and I'll be bulldozing it to make way for a Trump casino, but good news, I'm giving you all jobs. Because as the saying goes, if you can sexy bale hay, you can sexy deal blackjack. The only way Donald Trump should ever be in an erotic movie is if he edits himself into one. Like this. Oh, why, hello there, pizza delivery man. I wasn't expecting you so soon. I just got out of the shower. How's it hanging?
Crooked as a $3 bill.
Fantastic. Would you like to come see my farm? So Trump did several interviews with Playboy, and when he wasn't awkwardly flipping through fake documents with a Playboy playmate and quietly slipping his wedding ring off his finger, he was actually spouting off about politics, and specifically about his admiration for dictators. In a 1990 interview with Playboy, he praised China's brutal massacre of pro-democracy protesters in Tiananmen Square.
Trump himself, very, very early on, way before he was a political, figment of anybody's imagination, said to Playboy magazine, when the students poured into Tiananmen Square, the Chinese government almost blew it. Then they were vicious, they were horrible, but they put it down with strength. That shows you the power of strength. Our country is right now perceived as weak.
When Trump said that back in 1990, I was outraged at the time because unlike everyone else my age, I actually did read Playboy for the articles. I was 17 years old when my parents discovered a Playboy magazine in my closet. I told them, it's not what you think. I'm doing research for a satirical comedy segment I'm gonna do on my talk show in the year of 2023. And then my dad said, do we get to come on? So that was back in 1990. Donald Trump has changed his opinions on almost everything since then. He used to be pro-choice, now he's anti-abortion. He used to be for gun control, now he's against it. But the one thing he's been consistent on his entire life is his support for dictators. Fast forward from 1990 to last week, when he once again approvingly quoted Vladimir Putin slamming American democracy.
Even Vladimir Putin, has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia because it shows the rottenness of the American political system, which cannot pretend to teach others about democracy.
Well, if Vladimir Putin said it, it must be true. I like when Trump says Vladimir Putin, his fans don't even know if they're supposed to cheer or boo. We all know Vladimir Putin, yeah, boo! Trump has been very clear that in the second term, he will aspire to be a dictator by using the language of dictators. His recent embrace of fascist rhetoric has drawn comparisons to dictators like Adolf Hitler who used the same language, which prompted Trump to defend himself this week in a way that only raised more questions.
It's crazy what's going on. They're ruining our country. And it's true. They're destroying the blood of our country. That's what they're doing. They're destroying our country. They don't like it when I said that. And I never read Mein Kampf.
Still, pulled that title up pretty quick, didn't he? And so casually, like he's been meaning to get to it. I haven't read Mein Kampf. It's been on my bedside table for weeks. It's just, every night before bed, I like to reread an old interview I did in a 1990 magazine, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, wink. Wink, wink. He's like a guy who comes home late from work one night when his spouse says, "How was your day?" He says, "I was working. I wasn't having sex with Janet from accounting. She's having an affair with someone else, and I was only there to pop in between erotic scenes." This wouldn't be the first time Trump has lied about whether he did or did not read a book. In 2017, he told Fox News that he was reading a book about Andrew Jackson, and then in another interview, he claimed Jackson could have stopped the Civil War. But when he tried to explain what he meant by that, he made it clear he did not know what he was talking about.
People don't realize, the Civil War,
Yeah.
you think about it, why? People don't ask that question. But why was there the Civil War?
Yeah. Why was there the Civil War? I mean, we all remember those famous paintings of Civil War battles where soldiers from the North and South stood in the middle of the woods shrugging their soldiers and saying, "Why are we doing this? We're like brothers." So Trump now insists he hasn't read Mein Kampf. First of all, if you're echoing Hitler, it doesn't really matter whether you're ripping him off or you got there on your own. You're still echoing Hitler. In fact, this wouldn't even be the first time Trump has echoed Hitler. During his first term, he reportedly praised Hitler to his aides, including his chief of staff, John Kelly.
In 2018, Trump told his then chief of staff, retired four-star General John Kelly, as Kelly was explaining to Trump who the allies and enemies were in both world wars, quote, "Well, Hitler did a lot of good things," praising the Fuhrer for his economic policies. Trump, frustrated by his military leadership, exclaimed to Kelly as well, "You effing generals, why can't you be more like the German generals?" "Which generals?" Kelly asked. "The German generals in World War II," Trump responded.
So on top of praising Hitler, he doesn't even know that Germany lost World War II. And forget books. Have you seen any movies? That's like a football coach screaming at his offensive line, "Why can't you be more like the Jets?" Regardless of whether Trump has or has not read any specific book, he's obviously echoing the language of autocrats and dictators, and that's what matters. So as the year ends and we look ahead to the 2024 election, I hope we'll remember that the stakes are very clear. In the meantime, I hope everyone's holidays are happy, restful, joyful, and most of all,
Erotic.
this has been A Closer Look. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching A Closer Look. And as a reminder, my brother Josh and I have started a new podcast called Family Trips with the Myers Brothers. We hope you listen. We hope you like it. And see you soon.